What's good YouTube? This is your boy Sola Peeps and this is another video. I want to address the reason why I started using 1:1 risk to reward ratio. I am a forex trader who trade on psychological level and rejection on trend line. I mostly trade on 1 hour time frame and I use 1:1 risk to reward ratio. And here is why I used 1:1 risk to reward ratio. And if you do not know what risk to reward ratio means, it means if you risk $10, you are going to gain $10. So you lose what you gain. So that is what risk to reward means. And me using 1:1 risk to reward means if I risk $10, I'm going to make $10. So not the one that is popular, at least 1:2, which means if you risk $10, you are aiming for $20. So that is what the risk to reward ratio means. Alright, my trading style is that I enter on the psychological level. And briefly, if you do not know what psychological level is just a round number. Like when you say 100, 200, 300, 350, and those are the psychological level. And what does that mean? Let's say you want to buy something that is, as now I'm a Nigerian, I live in Nigeria, and let's say you want to buy something that is 250 naira, or let's say 243 naira, you can say that I'm going to buy that in when the price come down to what, 200 naira. So that psychological level is just a round number. Now, the way I enter my trade, I use break of structure. Here is how I trade. I enter a trade once I see a break of structure and I see a rejection, a pullback on the psychological level. Alright, take for example, this is GBP USD 1 hour chart. Once I see a breakout here, above that red rectangle, so I'm going to set a buy limit and put my stop loss around here. So, and I go for 1:1 risk to reward ratio. Alright, and the reason why I go for 1:1 risk to reward ratio is because I want a quick wins and not long waiting trade. And my setup wins often. And I rather go for small wins than to wait for a long period of time and later I lost the trade. And how does 1:1 risk to reward helps me? It means more wins, more confidence, and that means less stress and less doubt. Alright, me using 1:1 risk to reward ratio doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. And me not using 1:2 or 1:3, that doesn't mean I cannot make it in this forex industry. So I'm using 1:1 and I'm sticking to it. And again, if you think that 1:1 is not worth it, alright, I get it. The most crime you can commit in forex industry is using 1:1 risk to reward ratio, because most of the growth hate it, that 1:1 is trash. I get it. I don't blame anybody. I just use what is going to work for me. Alright, here is the thing. Whenever I'm in trade of 1:1 risk to reward ratio and I'm in profit of half of the what profit, let me say I'm risking 1:1 and I'm in half of the trade already, so I'm going to reduce my risk by half. So if I reduce my risk by half, that means I'm now risking, if I'm risking 1%, let me say I'm risking 1% to gain 1%. And most of the time, my trade usually reach half of the 1:1 risk to reward. So if my trade risks to 1:1, half of the 1:1 risk to reward, I move my stop loss. That means if I'm risking 1% and to gain 1%, and now that I'm cutting my risk into half, that means I'm risking 0.5% and to gain 1%. That is 1:2 already. So that is how I'm trying to manage my risks. 1:1 is not weak. I consider it as smart. But if you cannot use 1:1 risk to reward, I get it. And because the crime that you can commit in forex industry or trading industry is using 1:1 risk to reward, because to most of the traders it's just trash. I got it, but I use what is work for me, and you use what is work for you. That's the thing. All right, guys, let me know what your risk to reward is in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks in advance, and see you in the next video. Peace out.